At the same time, to counter this, in an age of artificial intelligence, to speak against the motion is no mean job. And I want that, we want that, the House wants that. It should come from one of our best debaters of Techno India University, whom we have seen anchoring different platforms, a very good debater, a very young person, but I have a lot of respect for her. And her last two surname matches with the surname of our promoters, our chairman, our co-chairman, and our chief innovation officer and executive director. So is none other than Sreshtha Basu Rai Chaudhary to speak against the motion on the platform where he said NVIDIA, chief manufacturing, video games, jobs, education, and the perception of Wang Saab. So over to Sreshtha.
A very good afternoon. First of all, as a member of the opposition, I would like to set the motion right. We are not debating on whether or not we require AI as a tool in our day-to-day lifestyle. We are debating upon whether its absence is going to change the way we look at the job sector today. So before I begin, I would like to talk about a funny incident that I came across where a very famous tech company hired a group of coders from this university, and we have already talked about AI's significance in pharma, computer science, but now I would definitely delve deeper into that later. But before we begin, let us talk about AI's involvement in something a little more generic. For instance, ice cream. What kind of mind-blowing flavors of ice cream could artificial intelligence generate? And this is a true study. So, a group of middle school coders from Keeling collected about 16,000 different flavors and fed them into the algorithm to check what kind of flavors it might generate. And these are the flavors that the intelligence came up with: pumpkin trash break, peanut butter slime, strawberry cream disease. A similar incident happened a few years ago. A large tech company developed an AI powered customer support chatbot designed to handle routine inquiries. The chatbot was named, let's name it Ava. It was supposed to manage everything from simple questions about the company to troubleshooting issues. One day, a customer named Dave reached out to Ava with a rather peculiar problem. And his internet was down, and he was also convinced that his internet was down because a rather rogue squirrel has chewed through the cables. Now, Ava, programmed to handle common issues, initially took the complaint rather seriously. It recommended the usual troubleshooting steps like restarting the router and checking for cable connections. Dave was still convinced that Squirrel was the culprit, and he grew increasingly frustrated with Ava's answers. The situation obviously escalated when Ava, in an attempt to be a bit more helpful, suggested that an advanced troubleshooting step must be conducted. And the step included a rather unrelated and utterly absurd action, which was: please attempt to convince the squirrel to leave the area with a snack. At this point, Dave, both amused and exasperated, reached out to the customer hotline and spoke to the human agent. And the human agent reached a swift decision, and he sent a technician down. So the human agent later shared this story with his office mates and highlighted on the amusing interaction that took place between Dave and Ava. It turned out that the squirrel snack situation was a bug in its troubleshooting program. And later, this incident became an office joke, obviously. So, while one might point out that Ava's role in the form is more in the form of a supportive tool rather than a replacement for human interaction, I would like to point out that Ava efficiently handled the routine steps of troubleshooting before, which enabled the human customer support agent to come back later and address the crucial situation, which was a lot more nuanced and extremely unusual. So that brings us to yet another terminology which has been reiterated.
1 minute more.
Which has been reiterated in Korn Ferry's report. And I will come back with that later in my second half of the speech, which is complexity. What defines the complexity of a job? And how has that changed in the recent years? And what exactly is meant by having a job? My first point would be, while routine tasks have become automated, that has increased the need for human skills
30
and
seconds, ma'am.
softer skills to become a lot more developed. So while the proposition party might feed words into our mouth and make us believe that it, as the youngsters, we are trying to propose the idea of communicating through AI, it is basically the other way around. AI is communicating because of us. I'm hoping to come back later in the second half of today's session with further points. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. You're deft in time. I'd now like to invite again one of the young speakers, Angelina Goswami, who strongly advocated that I want to speak for the motion when I said you speak against. So, Angelina Goswami.